Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Clarendon Insights, my 2-minute takeaway on topical issues of the day. And this week, I'm going to revisit the subject of a educational workshop I did with a client only last week. And the subject for that was bridging the generational gap in the workplace. Here are some themes to bring out. And it was highlighted again by an article that I read in my local online production. My local mayor in my town, it's a relatively small market town here in England, in the UK. The local mayor who's been elected is only 26 years old. Here are some things that we covered in the workshop, and maybe I am holding out for a bit of support for what I consist of, which is part of the older generation of the workforce in the UK. Let's just analyze what categories we fall into. So we actually have 2% of the workforce today in the UK that belong to a group called the traditionalists. These are people who are likely to be 65 aged upwards. They're the traditionalists, still 2% of the workplace. We then have the baby boomers. These people are likely to have been born between 1948 and 1963. We then have Generation X. They're likely to have been born between 1964 and 1978. Moving on to Generation Y, 1979 to 1991, followed by Generation Z, the Zoomers, likely to have been born between 1992 and 2010. We have all of those people in the workplace. What happens when you see job adverts and specifications on occasions if you belong now to one of those first two categories, the baby boomers or the traditionalists? Let me advise you what I see. I see descriptions, because you're not allowed to say in the UK what age group you're targeting. So you hear words like energetic, ambitious, hungry, ready for the long term. That means if you're over 50, don't bother applying. We all know that's what it means. So why don't you just say that? But it's age discrimination. It's one of the protected characteristics of the Equality Act of 2010. Let me try and give some of those myths of the older generation that I covered with my fantastic client on Friday. 7 myths about the older generation. Number one, older workers are less capable of solving problems. A complete myth, because we grew up in the older generation without the internet, without Google. We had to figure out how to solve things by ourselves. If we broke down in our cars, I did that several weeks ago, we had to figure out the most productive way to get to a phone box, those things that now seem to be only used for village libraries. We are fantastic at solving problems from first principles. Myth number 2, older workers cost more. We probably have less expectations because we've grown up with the fact that salaries were cast in stone and we didn't have the influence to change those. Myth number 3, older workers call in sick a lot. You can't be trusted in my age group. My last day off for sickness, excluding a hip replacement, and I think I've got a bit of a get out clause there, was over 30 years ago. We have great sickness records. We grew up with the idea that we should go into work and share our germs with other people. And older workers have poor memories. Myth number 4, age is not related to memory. Myth number 5, older workers have trouble learning new things. We have continuous ambition to learn new things and we retain information for longer. Of course, lots of these things apply to the younger generation as well, but we're not precluded from having these characteristics and abilities in the older age group. Myth number 6, older workers, well, we're just waiting for our retirement to pick up a pension check if we can have one. Actually, we're working longer, perhaps actually because some people do need to work longer, but there's a benefit to that as well. We have a need to achieve still. Myth number 7, the final one, older workers are not up to date with technology. I fall into the baby boomer category. Just my age begins with a 6. You can work out if you wish or have a guess as to how old I am. I'm now hosting a podcast. Goodness me, I didn't even know what a podcast was 12 months ago. So, bridging the generational workforce or bridging the generational gap in the workplace with a multi generational workforce, younger people and older people together. What a great combination. This has been Clarendon Insights, issue number 22. 2-minute takeaway on topical issues of the day. It's actually taken just over 5. Let's get the benefit out of younger and older generation working together. Bye for now.